How to fix a wrecked metabolism without gaining weight. So, after taking hundreds of coaching calls with pastors over the last few years, I'm going to show you how you can fix your metabolism and you can do it without gaining weight. And I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that I took so that you can take them yourself. And so, here's the problem that I was facing. I wanted to gain muscle without gaining fat. And I'd heard this idea that if I add more calories and I'm going to bulk up, so to speak, then I'm going to gain more fat. And obviously, this was terrifying to me. Like, I didn't want to gain fat. I'd worked really hard. By this point in my story, I'd already lost 30 pounds. And so I didn't want to undo this progress that I made, but I did want to get stronger. I did want to get bigger. And then the second problem is I felt really low on my energy after dieting endlessly. And the problem was I lost the 30 pounds. And so then my goal was, well, I'm going to maybe decrease, maybe add some more calories. I don't know. I'm just going to basically stay really low in my calories. That way I can be lean and I won't get fat again. I was terrified of getting fat. And what happened is I lost all my energy throughout the day. I remember people coming up to me and saying, dude, you feel like you're exhausted. You look bad. They were like, are you okay? And they told me you don't seem like the Charlie that we know. And the reason is because I've been dieting for forever. I had this really hard push, and then once I was done with that big push after I lost all of that weight, then I just decided to stay low, and that meant that I ran out of all of my energy. And it felt like my metabolism had crashed. It felt like I was doing all of the right things. I was dieting, I was working out, I was exercising, I was getting enough sleep, I was recovering, whatever that was supposed to mean, and I still was not able to lose weight, and I still wasn't able to put on muscle. And it felt like my metabolism had just pooped out on me, like my metabolism was wrecked, like it had just crashed. And by the way, if you're a pastor and you want to learn more about this, if you've ever felt like your metabolism has crashed, I put together a free community where I share all of these kinds of things, and the link is in the description. You can join it for free right now. Let's talk about what I did though. So after feeling like my metabolism had crashed, after trying for a long time to diet endlessly, after having no energy, and after trying to cut down but then stay lean while still building muscle, here's what I did. I learned the difference between the deficit, the maintenance, and the surplus. Now, there was this game that I played. My dad is a pilot, and in high school and junior high, he wanted to go into the Air Force, and he wanted to be a fighter pilot. In fact, if I remember correctly, one of the branches of the military reached out to him after he took some standardized testing, and they're like, you would be a perfect fit for this special high-end job or whatever, like top secret clearance. It sounded really cool. And he wanted to be this fighter pilot, so he did all of his instructional training. He got his different pilot's licenses, the different levels of them, and he just kind of moved up in life as a pilot. And there was this game that he downloaded on our family computer during this time that he wanted to be a pilot, just after they got married. And it was called Afterburner. And you had this little joystick, and you could move your plane up, down, left, or right. And it was like this little arcade game. And basically, you shoot down the enemy pilots. You'd fly an F-14 Tomcat. It was the kind of plane that they fly in Top Gun, the first one. And so we played this game, and I remember as a kid, I could only make it to level 1 or 2, but my dad could make it to level 13, 14, 15. And after you got past the first 1 or 2 levels, the daytime changes throughout the game. And once it got to the nighttime portion, then there was this big plane that would come over top of you, and it would extend this little rod down to your plane, and it would refuel your fighter jet. This was super cool to me. I thought this was, I don't know, I didn't know that was a thing as a kid, so it was really cool when my dad finally made it to that level and it turned nighttime, and I learned all this stuff about planes and all of that. But my point with telling you that is that imagine if that tanker, if that refueler overfilled the tank. Well, then the fuel would probably spill out, right? Some of it would just get onto the wings. Some of it would probably spill off the back of the plane, even maybe burning up inside the jet flames and all that. Imagine if the tanker did not fuel your fighter pilot, your fighter jet all the way. well, then you would be in a deficit and you wouldn't be able to complete the mission. Thankfully, in the game, they always filled it to the right amount and you could fly the whole game. But that's kind of like how our bodies work. You have a certain size tank and you put fuel into it, that food that you eat. And if you eat too much, then it kind of spills over. And your body, it takes extra fuel and it turns it into fat cells. And that's what it's called when you're eating in a surplus of calories. Now, that doesn't matter where those calories come from. It could be carbs, proteins, or fats. It could be alcohols if you drink. But whenever you drink or eat more calories than your body needs for that day, it stores that as fat and you're in a surplus for that day. The same thing if you're in a deficit. You're eating fewer calories than your body needs. But when you get that balance right and you're eating what your body needs, then you're at maintenance. You're at your maintenance calories. And it's just like your fuel tank is filled to the brim, but not more, not less. You're eating the right amount. And so that's the first thing, is whenever I was at this point and my metabolism felt like it had tanked, like it had pooped out on me, I had to learn the difference between those three different things. Now, the second thing though, I had to learn because I was still a little bit confused. So I was on Instagram one day, scrolling, as one does, and I realized that I'd heard this from many people. Now, by the time I figured this out, I was actually already a coach. I'd already helped several people lose fat. At this point, I'd already helped multiple people lose like 20, 30, 40 pounds. So I feel like at this point in the story, I've had a good understanding of a deficit, maintenance, and surplus. I already know what I'm doing with nutrition loosely. But I still had this concept in my mind that your metabolism slows down or speeds up. And I remember in high school, I'd read this book, this men's health magazine that my mom got me, and it said something along the lines of eat big to get big, or if you eat a lot of calories, then you will burn a lot of calories. And so I started eating more and more and more food, thinking that now because I'm eating more, it forces my digestion to work harder, so then I will burn more calories for some reason. That's not really how it works, but that's what was in my mind at this point in my story. So I've lost 30 pounds, but my metabolism stinks. I'm coaching other people, and I'm still a little bit confused on this. But then I saw this reel on Instagram from a guy named Dr. Allan Bacon, and you can go follow him. I'll link a video in the description here that actually goes over what I'm talking about today. But he described, it's not that your metabolism changes. In fact, it's really predictable. If I go from 185 pounds to 150 pounds, they can plug that in, you can plug that into a calculator and figure out how many calories more or less your body is going to require. So it's not a lot. It's a very small amount. Like we're talking like 20 calories, not a lot. So that's not what's happening. It's not that your metabolism slowed down because you lost weight. It's not that your metabolism sped up because you gained weight. What happens is he says there's basically two backup functions that your body does. It's like, dude, we're low on calories. We have to fix this. So it throws in number one, the backup protocol number one, is it decreases your NEAT, which is an acronym for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. You don't have to know what it stands for to understand what it does. You know how whenever you're sitting sometimes and you're bouncing your leg or you're playing with a pen or maybe you might pace in your office back and forth trying to think through something. Well, all of those things that aren't necessarily exercise, but it's movement, all of that slows down. So maybe you've been on a low diet, you've been eating very few calories for a long time, and now your body is saying, oh man, we got to do something to preserve this fat for when winter comes, or when the cold happens, or when a starvation happens and there's no more food in the area. I gotta have this fat. I gotta prepare myself for the worst case scenario. And so your body decreases the need. Okay, decreases the amount of activity that you do outside of your exercise. Now this is deceptive because sometimes you'll actually be in the deficit and you'll be going out on walks, you'll be getting your 10,000 steps per day, and you're like, I'm still gaining weight. My metabolism slowed down so much that now I'm gaining weight at 1,800 calories. No, it's probably because even though you're taking the steps, you're doing the workouts, and you're only eating that many calories, you're actually just not doing anything the rest of the day. And your NEAT could be responsible for up to like 2,000 extra calories per day. What that means is that when your body slows down everything outside of your workout or outside of your intentional movement, your sports or your walks, that's going to account for a lot of extra calories that your body no longer needs. So think back to the jet fuel example. Suppose your body held like 100 gallons of fuel. Now it only holds 50 gallons. Or let's put it into exercise terms. Suppose before your diet, you required 2,700 calories to maintain your weight. Well, once you stop moving during the day, you only go down to 2,200 calories. But you've been dieting at 2,200 calories. And so you're eating at maintenance now because you stop moving throughout the day. That throws a lot of people for a loop. So pay attention, that might be something that's happening to you. But then there's another mechanism that your body, a backup protocol that your body uses, and it increases your binges. Sometimes you're just eating and not tracking it. Sometimes you're adding in food, or maybe if you're like me, you think, man, I need to show up for my people on Sunday. I need to preach this message with gusto. I need to have mental clarity, and so I need to eat the donut. And you give yourself these excuses, and one excuse turns into a few more excuses during that week, and by the end of the week, you've added another 1,000, 2,000, 3,000+ calories just from the little things that you had to do in order to have energy or to feel a little full. One time won't hurt me. Technically, yes, but one time, a lot of times during the week will. And what happens actually is whenever you start getting into a diet, whenever you start decreasing your calories, if you do that aggressively, a lot of times your hunger levels actually spike. Your body's like, man, we got to do something about this. We got to make this guy go find some food somewhere. So let's trick him. Let's make him think that he's super hungry and that he's just going to die if he doesn't get food now. Make his stomach hurt, make it growl, make him feel so hungry he cannot resist anymore. And then what happens is, for most people, both of these things happen. So they stop moving as much, they lower their NEAT, and then they start having more and more binges from all of that extra hunger that they're feeling. And what happens is they end up plateauing. It's not that they actually plateaued, it's just that they're no longer in a deficit. Sometimes I've even seen where they're not in maintenance, but sometimes they're actually eating in a surplus even though they're on a diet. Yeah, you lower the amount of calories you're eating during the day, but you're binging more and you're moving less, which means your body's requirement is lower than the amount of calories that you're eating, meaning you're going to add more fat on. So obviously this is scary for some people. This is confusing. They're like, I've been on a diet for months and months and I'm not able to lose weight. Or even worse, in many cases, I've been on a diet for months and months and I'm gaining weight now. What do I do? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I combined this first bullet point and I figured out where my deficit was, where my maintenance was, and where my surplus was. Then I took the lessons that I learned from Dr. Allan Bacon and I synthesized them, put them together into one framework. And what I did is I actually ate at maintenance, meaning I estimated how many calories I needed and I just ate that many calories per day. I didn't change my activity, so I didn't slow down or do more things. I didn't fidget more or less. I didn't go on more or fewer walks. And I did this since November. And in that time, I've been able to stay within a 4-pound range from 178 to 182. Not a pound less, not a pound more. So 4 pounds from November, December, January, February, and now into March. So for 4 months within 4-pound range, and I've kind of oscillated between those just depending on what my day-to-day tasks required of me movement-wise. And that 4 pounds, it stayed consistent. But here's what changed. I became the cookie butter guy. So about a month ago in January, there's this little ice cream shop called Andy's Frozen Custard where I live here. It's just down the road. It's like less than 8 minutes away. And they came out with this cookie butter crunch concrete. And it is just the most divine dessert that I've ever had in my life. And so apparently in January, we got enough of them that I kind of got a reputation for being the cookie butter guy. So I didn't know that that was like my nickname or anything. I didn't know that that was it. But one time I rolled up early February. So they run their specials for like their special flavors for like 2 months. So I got them during January. I got it all the way through February. About halfway through February, I pull up in my van and the guy goes, nah, I already know what you want. Just how many and what size? And I was cracking up. I was just amazed that, like, wow, I'm really at that point in life where I'm known by my order before I even get there. And so I told him what I wanted. I got the stuff. And then I didn't go for like 2 weeks because that struck my pride. But then the end of the month was coming up. And remember, they only run the special flavors for 2 months. So I had to get one more in. And I pull up, and not the big guy who got me, but the girl who served me through the window several times. She was like, "Oh, you're the cookie butter guy." And I was like, "You guys know me as that? Like, that's my nickname here?" And she was like, "Dude, we've known you as the cookie butter guy." And so my pride yet again crumbled, but I ordered anyway. And so apparently I had that reputation. But let me put this in perspective. I stayed within 178 to 182, within 4 pounds, while becoming the cookie butter guy. My point is that you do not have to kill yourself on a diet. You don't have to only eat like healthy foods. You don't have to make your diet so rigid and constrained and low calorie. You can just enjoy yourself at maintenance for a little while. And that's what I did. And so I did all of that during the process of becoming the cookie butter guy. And then on top of that, I got stronger. I've broken every PR that I've set so far. And there's not a workout that I don't set at least one record, whether that's adding a rep or adding weight to something. And typically, if I have 4 or 5, 6 exercises, I usually set a record on all 6 of them. So what I'm saying is, all I did was I ate at maintenance, I got stronger, and I definitely enjoyed myself in the process. So take the whole scope of this video so far, and I started with a wrecked metabolism. I started with gaining weight on a diet, and I ended enjoying all of my favorite food, and very much getting a reputation by doing so, and building muscle in the process. And so what I've done is I've been able to gain muscle without gaining fat. I've gotten my energy back. People have commented on how I feel like, I have more energy now. And my metabolism has gone from feeling like it crashed to now me being in control of what I'm doing, how much energy I have, and being able to diet at will. So, by the way, if you would like that kind of result, then I currently have 2 spots open to work with me one-on-one. You'll lose 20 to 30 pounds, that's a guarantee, and we'll use Bible-based fitness, scriptural principles, plus modern-day exercise science. And so if you're curious about that, there's a link to apply in the description. It is first come, first serve. I've got a couple calls lined up this week anyway, so get in there while you still can. Now, here's the takeaways. Your metabolism is not broken. You're just probably overeating, under-moving, or both. Nothing else needs said on that. Just take stock of what you're doing. Pay attention to your own habits. See if you've slowed down, if your leg stops, bouncing during the work day, or if you stop fidgeting with your pen. That's probably because you've been dieting so long that you trained your body just to give up movement during the day, unless you're in the gym or you're walking. And you probably trained yourself that it's okay to take the little binges throughout the week, and that's adding up. And that's what's tanked your metabolism, so to speak. It's not broken. It didn't change. You're just compensating. And finally, you can fix it by eating at maintenance for a while. If you want a solution, here it is. Just eat at maintenance calories for a while, and then decrease your calories moderately. And what I would say is do about 300 to 500 calories. If you do too many, then your body takes those first 2 things. Remember, it decreases your NEAT and it increases your hunger. And it like ramps those up. It like full, like afterburner, full steam ahead. It just blasts those 2 things. It stops all of your movement and it makes you feel super hungry. But if you do a moderate deficit, a moderate cut, if you just slightly underfill your tank, 300 to 500 calories, then you're not going to have those aggressive changes, and you'll be able to diet, lose the fat, while still not like tanking your metabolism, so to speak. And then here's the second part. So when you take that small, moderate cut in your calories, then you also increase your movement. So that compensates for your body's need, meaning your maintenance calorie stays the same even though you decrease your calories. And so you don't have to understand all of it, but basically your calories that your body needs stay here, the calories that you're eating stays here. And that difference in between means that you will lose fat while being able to gain muscle if you have a good program like the ones that I give you for free in the Fit Pastor Blueprint, or by, I forget what I was saying, but basically you're going to lose some fat and you're going to crush this. And that's what I want for you. Hopefully this training helped you today. I will see you in the community if you're not already in there, and hopefully I will see you on a call soon. Have a great evening.